Welcome to another episode of JAKPA Stories, the podcast where every story inspires another. On today's episode of the podcast, I have my very good friend. I'm not going to introduce her. I'm going to let her to introduce herself.
Oge TK Okonkwo.
Oge TK Okonkwo. Welcome to JAKPA Stories.
Thank you.
You've been one of the main supporters of JAKPA Stories ever since you saw it go out there. And I've always wanted to have this opportunity to sit down with you.
Yeah.
How are things going?
Going great. It's going great. Awesome. Yeah.
That's good. So when you hear the word JAKPA Stories, what does that word mean to you? What does JAKPA mean to you?
JAKPA, in the Nigerian sense of the word, means to move out of the country to somewhere else, maybe outside of the country. It could be the UK, the US, Canada, Australia, and wherever it is that things work better. But for me, JAKPA is more like seeking greener pastures, not necessarily for myself as a person, but considering the people that depend on you, the kids, family, friends, just to seek greener pastures to make better, a better living, a better lifestyle for yourself and people that depend on you.
I like that part. I like the part where you brought up people that depend on you. Because I think for a lot of folks that I've spoken with, not everybody moved because they personally wanted to move.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of people that were doing really well.
Yeah.
Back, wherever they're coming from, whether it's Nigeria or Ukraine or Ghana or South Africa, some people were doing pretty well.
Yeah.
But they had to make certain decisions, not just for themselves, but either for people depending on them, like their kids, maybe their parents. So for you, what exactly, who are those lovely ones that you would say were the folks that were depending on you?
Yeah, sure. So for me, there are a whole lot of people that depend on me. Both my nuclear family and my extended family, and by that I mean my kids, I mean my father and my stepmom, and a host of relatives, including uncles, aunts, cousins, nephews, nieces, and what have you. So being able to do better economically, financially, means that these people that depend on me can live a better life. So yeah, for me again, I think the main reason why I took the JAKPA thing seriously was first my kids, but I think we'll get to that part later on.
Yeah, because I mean, for those who don't know, Oge and I, we go way back, right?
Yeah. We go way
how
back.
many years? Like I would say, back from the same university. Shout out to everyone that went to Futo.
Yeah.
We go way back. I would say almost like almost 20 years
20
now.
years. About
Wow.
20 years, yes.
Now, just saying that makes me feel a little bit old, but I mean, I'm not.
Yeah.
But yeah, so because I remember back then, even before when you moved here, right? You probably had a couple of other options. So where do you call home today? Let's start from there.
Okay, for me, home is where the heart is. I know it's a little bit cliche, but that's really what it is, right? So home is not one physical place for me. Home is where my family and my loved ones are, where my husband and kids are, where my father is, where my sister and her family is. That is home for me. So yeah.
I like it. So if we wanted to put a name to that home, in terms of a city,
Okay.
which city would be the first that claims that position right now?
Well, primarily that would be Calgary,
Okay.
Canada.
Shout out to our folks in Calgary. But okay, so when did you guys move here?
We moved to Canada in February of 2020
Okay.
and to Calgary, Canada, just a couple of months ago.
Wow.
So total, we've been in Canada for nearly 6 years, but just a few months in Calgary.
Time really flies.
Yeah,
So that was like in the peak of COVID,
exactly.
right?
Actually,
Because February of
Yeah.
2020,
yeah.
that's when the
COVID.
world was shutting down.
Thank you. to, be,
Because-
to be honest, I think that would be the first shock of moving out here.
Yeah.
Because we landed, and less than 2 weeks after, everything shut down.
Wow.
Like, we didn't even have access to anyone. We couldn't visit anyone. Nobody could
Oh
visit
my
us.
God.
We were practically locked in, just us and and it was a crazy period.
So I can imagine the kids getting excited about moving,
Mm-hmm.
and then you make them move,
Mm-hmm.
and then you get into this new town,
Mhm.
new city, new country,
Yeah.
where you probably don't know a lot of people at that
Mm-mm.
time. I know you're a very friendly person, but I mean, 2 weeks, I don't think you would probably know so many people at that point.
Just one or two people that we met in WhatsApp groups. Like,
Okay.
we can't even say that at that point they were exactly friends. Just people that we used to talk with in JAKPA WhatsApp stories.
Yeah.
I'm sure if you're in Canada, UK, or US, you probably know what I'm talking about.
You
know,
probably
those
join one
WhatsApp
of the
groups.
WhatsApp
Yeah,
groups.
yeah. One of those WhatsApp groups. So yeah, we had a few friends there that helped us to settle in, like helped us to find a place
Okay.
to stay.
So they
and,
found you guys
yeah.
found a place before you
before we
landed.
moved. Yes,
Okay.
yes,
All
we
right.
did.
That's
Yeah,
good.
because it was the heat of winter, and we really didn't want to come in here and start looking for a house, with little kids and all
Yeah.
that. So the best plan was to just have someone help us to get a place.
That's
and then,
good.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate all the folks that are helping others to get settled faster.
Mm-hmm.
Because for some people that I've spoken with, they probably just came in, they were struggling to get accommodation,
Mm-hmm.
they're struggling to get a job,
Mm-hmm.
and at the same time just trying to stay afloat. And you know what it feels like when you're living with someone,
Mm-hmm.
and if you happen to have kids and you're living with someone, and you're also trying to get accommodation and it's not working quickly the way you expected. So it's good that you guys avoided that situation.
Yes, we did.
Because for some other people, I've heard like really crazy stories around people that you started having good relationships with, and then you came in, and then things didn't work out the way you
Yeah,
expected, and
yeah.
then it just messes up that
Yeah,
relationship.
there's a lot of stories around that, and I guess I'm just I've always been an independent person, and I try as much as possible not to inconvenience people, except when that is the very last option.
Yeah.
My comfort is very important to me, no matter how small, but that is your own.
Exactly.
Right? So yeah.
So what was the first impression for yourself
Mm-hmm.
and also for the kids when you guys landed here in Canada?
Well, for for me, I
And
remember.
as I'm asking that question,
Yeah.
mine is going to February,
Yeah, February.
winter.
Yeah, exactly. I remember landing at the airport in Saskatoon, and as soon as we stepped out of that airport, there was this huge, powerful wind of extreme cold that hit us. And we're like, whoa, imagine, with all of the layering, because we were prepared,
Yeah.
right? We layered up and wore our winter coats, winter gears, the head warmers, and
Yeah.
all of that. But still, nothing prepared us for
For the
what
cold
hit
that
us.
was-
So yeah, that was my very first impression personally. And for the kids, they were actually not really bothered about the cold. They actually liked the idea of the snow
Yeah.
for the first few weeks.
First few weeks
Yeah.
before they got the real
Yeah,
exposure
before they
to
got
it.
too tired of it.
I mean, I can imagine for kids who have not seen snow for for as long as probably when they were born, or even for some of them, they probably saw it when they were babies, but they would probably not remember anything. And then getting to see their first snow, first experience, the excitement that comes with that.
Yes.
And then having to leave every day with that snow and realizing that that excitement sort of drops at some point.
Yes. Yeah. Well, the thing with snow and kids is they'll always find a way to make fun of, to have fun in snow, maybe tobogganing or the slides and what have you. But eventually they just got tired of it because I think it kind of just became too much for them and they just couldn't wait to go back to the normal that they are used to, which is our typical summer.
Yeah, which is getting a lot of sunshine and heat and everything. Wow. So Saskatoon, you guys landed in February 2020. Luckily, you had an accommodation. Went in 2 weeks later on, the war shut down.
Yeah.
How did you guys survive that period?
Ooh, oh boy. So the thing with our movement is I am someone that likes to prepare for everything, and I always like to also prepare for the worst.
Yeah.
But I did not see that part, the COVID shutdown. Like I honestly didn't see that coming. So before we came to Canada, I had started doing some courses in IT.
Okay.
My background is actually in ag tech, and I came to Canada as a provincial nominee for occupations in demand, and the occupation in demand was managers in agriculture. So it was on that stream, through that stream that we came. So I knew that I was going to end up in something related to ag.
Okay.
But then again, I was consciously trying to brush up my skills in tech and things like that, database analysis, database management, data analysis, and things like that before we came. So when we landed, I quickly registered with the Saskatchewan Polytechnic for an online course. And preparing for the course to get started and hoping to, start job hunting. I mean, we had come with some reasonable amount of money for, what do you call it now? Proof of funds.
Proof of funds.
Yes. So we had something, to fall back on while, hoping that our plans would pan out.
Yeah.
But sadly, COVID happened, and people that we got to meet online through networking, online job fairs and all, started discouraging us because they're like, you guys need to be grateful that you were even able to come in, because right now people that have jobs are losing their jobs.
Yeah.
So it felt more like, okay, we're even should be happy,
be lucky and grateful to be around.
I guess that was the mindset at that time. So we just threw ourselves into using that opportunity to skill up and all of that. And thankfully, I got a minimum wage job as a customer service officer with, I think it was Fido.
Okay.
Yeah.
And was that remote? Or
it was remote. It was remote. It was a job that I did for 3 months, and honestly, true to God, I hated that job because interacting with customers kind of gave me a different perspective about the way the outside world saw us Africans.
Okay.
Maybe that's story for another day, but it was a shocking experience for me. Yeah.
So was it more like sometimes you're talking to a customer and let's say they detect an accent and then they probably want another person to support them?
Yeah. I actually had someone tell me that, do you speak English? I'm like, yeah, I'm speaking English. And she's like, I mean English.
Oh,
and then I went quiet, and then she says, can you get me someone that speaks English? I'm like, ma'am, I'm speaking English.
That's like the very silent, silent way of dropping those words that you never expect to hear.
Yeah. I actually had an elderly woman, I suppose, because she said she's retired. She called in and she didn't exactly have any, need any help.
Yeah.
She just wanted to talk to someone. And then she starts asking me, so where are you originally from? And I told her Nigeria, and she says, oh, really? Tell me about it. Do you guys have electricity? Do you have power?
Wow.
What kind of houses do you live in? And
that's an official call that is being recorded.
Yeah. And I'm thinking to myself, how do these people see Africans? Like, what do they see in the media?
Yeah,
I don't know.
And that's one of the reasons why it's one of the things that motivated me to start up this podcast as well. Because firstly, it's about supporting other immigrants.
Yeah.
Secondly, it's about educating other people. Because what I realize is most people in North America, I think it's actually backed by research. A lot of folks, especially in the US and Canada, most of the time their travel is really just geared around North America and South America. Now, about 60% of folks don't really travel outside of North America or South America. Few of them get to go to Europe.
Yeah.
The ones that are doing really well go to Europe for vacation. And the ones that eventually explore beyond that, it's even a lot lesser. So I wouldn't really blame someone who has not left the shores of Canada or
North America.
North America to probably know what's going on the other side of the world. Right? So initially I used to be surprised by that, but I'm no longer surprised because honestly for some people it's ignorance. For some people, then there are other people where you kind of sense that it's not ignorance that is speaking, but it's that subtle the subtle pushback to say, do you really belong here? Right? So I'm actually surprised that someone would call in to a call center. Because if I'm calling, it's probably because my phone has a problem. My data plan is, I probably exhausted it and I need more additional data. But calling to start having this type of conversation.
I just figured she was really bored. Like,
wow.
When I got that call, normally you would greet them and then ask them some security questions, which she answered correctly. And then we go right into the reason for the call. And she says, oh, I'm just calling to chat.
She must have really been very bored.
No, I can totally understand. Imagine COVID.
Yeah, but that was a senior.
Yeah, that was a senior.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a senior.
And COVID
as
well.
Yeah, I think she was just bored. I needed to speak to someone.
I can actually relate because when COVID hit and then the next 4 to 5 months after February when things were still very shaky, because back then I was working for a telecom company as well, and I wasn't part of the call center. I was part of the management professionals. But at some point the call center got super swamped with needing support and everything, and he started looking for volunteers. Like, hey, if you can put in maybe like 2 or 3 hours to support, would appreciate it. And for me, I took that opportunity because I wanted to just know what it felt like. And especially with COVID, most people not having hope of what was going to happen. There was a lot of...
Nobody knew when it was going to end.
So I enjoyed my conversations with a lot of the seniors especially. So I can...
No, speaking with the seniors was quite interesting. And I did have a bunch of calls from them. Then there were a lot of calls from a couple of students that, I don't know, students that probably just signed on to these telecom lines and didn't really understand their plans. I remember a particular one that really broke my heart. He had just arrived in Canada a couple of months earlier and had just made several hours of calls to his home country. Without realizing that he didn't have the long distance thing on his plan.
Oh my God.
So when he saw his bill, he's like, what? And there was no way I could help. Because we're talking about bills of over $2,000 for a student.
Oh no. I feel for that person because like when you're making those calls and you probably think, okay, the plan that you got, it's a plan that, because you make free calls locally, you probably think those free calls extend to international. And then you start making those calls only to see when you get your bill, it's like you're almost having a heart attack.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah. It was a very pathetic and I couldn't do anything to help. Yeah, unfortunately. The only thing to do was to.
So let's switch gears a bit and touch the kids, right? Because I know sometimes we look at this from a lot of time people focus on career, getting a job when they make a move to a different country, getting settled, whether it's getting health insurance and all of those things. But another part which I know a lot of people struggle with is handling the kids while also trying to get yourself set up with a job that you're looking for. And if I recall correctly, during COVID, schools actually shut down as well. Because if I remember back then, I know my daughter was doing more of remote learning, online. And so how did you balance that? Because I know then the kids were probably very young, and you're having to be on a call, supporting customers, and then also balancing that with kids without having any help.
Yeah, that was quite challenging, but the good thing was my husband and I were a good team that worked well together during that period. So at that time, my husband didn't get a job yet, and he was with the kids most of the time while doing his I think he was doing a program then with, I believe, Saskatchewan intercultural something. I think it was an 8-week program or something, and it was all online, so he could monitor the kids. My first son had started school, had registered for school, but didn't get to start until COVID happened, so he was also learning online. The other two were not in school yet, so they would just watch Coco Melon and then the ABCD 1, 2, 3 things on YouTube. And all, while I would be locked up in one of the rooms, taking calls and all. It was not easy, but we found a way to manage it well. I guess that's one of the shocks, because coming from Nigeria, where I had a living help and had someone else, an elderly woman, coming in to look after my baby who was just about a year old then. I kind of felt a lot of support back home, but coming here, it was almost totally different. But we adapted. We adapted. Yeah.
I think the adaptability is something which you adapt very fast, especially coming from having nannies that support and having a living help, which makes your life a lot more easier, to zero. Where a lot of the things that has to do with the kids, you have to do it yourself. The understanding between yourself and your partner to make sure everybody is all hands on deck. So that's really amazing. Now, if you were to speak to a young couple out there that is considering immigrating, whether they want to go to Canada or US or Australia or the UK, and they have kids,
Yeah.
what would be one of the key things that you would tell them to make sure that their first couple of months with that change of environment, that they get to adapt faster?
Yeah. I think the first thing I would say is keep an open mind, because changes will definitely come, especially when you're moving from, the traditional setting that we know to the conventional that we see here. And I think the second thing I would say is we really have to learn to be kind to each other and give ourselves grace.
I like
There's
that.
really no other way around it. Like, think about it. Both of you, both partners are working, grinding to bring in the dough. In some cases, one person may be working more than
could
one
be
job.
one person sometimes.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, you still have to do the traditional things like cooking, doing the laundry, getting the kids ready, changing diapers. I mean, my husband didn't know how to change the diaper till we came to Canada. Yeah, we had to learn it, right? It was, there were just so many
At
things
that
we
point,
had
it's all hands on deck. It's
Yeah,
like,
and for
you have to do
for the
what
first
you
time I
can.
saw him doing laundry, like,
Amazing.
I mean, my husband is the kind of person that back home, even to have a shower, somebody has to put the water for him. So, we have to understand, look, it's just us. And, just being kind to each other and giving yourself the grace, like encourage yourselves, because at the end of the day, some of these things are kind of new to us and we may not exactly know how to do it. So we were all learning, relearning, or learning, so just give yourself some grace and be kind to one another.
Yeah. Because I think it really comes down to the why. Why did you guys make that move in the first place, right? Because I think the why helps to put both of you on the same page, which sometimes even with some minor differences, that why will sort of keep you going with. And I think the part where you mentioned giving each other grace, that is so important, because without that grace, knowing that everything is not going to be perfect, but we got each other and we have to do this the best way we can to keep things going.
Yeah.
So if you're a young family and you're thinking of moving, listen to what Oge said, because Oge has lived the experience.
Yeah.
And she's sharing that with you, and it's there's no better way than to feel prepared when you want to make a move like that. So you guys landed in Saskatoon, and today you're in Calgary.
Yeah.
So if I was to take that back to the JAKPA, the context of the podcast, I would say you jackpot from Lagos to Saskatoon, and you jackpot from Saskatoon to Calgary. So that's like multiple.
Yeah.
So how did Calgary come in the picture for you guys?
That's a fantastic question. Okay, we've always had people, and when I say people, I mean like folks that we know from way back in Calgary. Like we have a bunch of them right here. So Calgary has always been like a summer destination for us, for Saskatoon. I mean, I think for the past 3 years or so, we've, always come to Calgary to spend some days during summer.
Okay.
And we generally love Calgary. As a matter of fact, the first time we came here, my husband wanted us to move immediately. But I pushed back because I have a good job in Saskatoon.
Yeah.
We have a beautiful home in Saskatoon. We have built a wonderful community in Saskatoon. So, in my opinion, if something is not broken,
Why fix it?
Why fix it? So we're good, you know. And secondly, to be honest, I hate moving.
Yeah.
I like change, but you see, the change that involves packing up and going is just too much for me. I mean, doing that JAKPA from Lagos, Nigeria to Saskatoon was just it. So in my mind, I'm like, we're good here.
You're like, give me a break.
Yeah.
I still need some time to recover from the previous
exactly. And for Calgary, we can always visit. It's a beautiful place. But then several things happened along the way. I was laid off from work. So I'm a project manager, and at the time I was working with a public sector, that's indigenous government, and most of my projects were funded by the government of Canada.
Okay.
So we lost funding for, some projects ended, and then the running one we lost funding. So yeah, my team was laid off. Most of my team was laid off,
okay.
And I found myself without a job. Incidentally, around
that was like
period,
the first time that had ever happened since you guys moved to Canada.
Exactly, that was the first time that.
So when that happened, what were you feeling at that moment? Was it feelings of fear, feelings of hope, or an opportunity to revamp some things? Because I could imagine for a lot of folks out here in North America. There's this stuff that people say that you're just 3 paychecks from being broke, right? And fortunately, I was talking to one of our guests here who is a finance expert and was talking about savings and some strategies around that. But the reality about it is most people, especially when you consider rent or mortgage or all the other recurring bills that happen, most people are just a few paychecks from being broke, or from just being at that point where that fear sets in. And I know Canada has a pretty good system where there's employment insurance that takes care of folks that lose their jobs. But at that moment, what were you feeling?
To be honest, I felt bad because I had lost a job that I really loved. I loved working with that organization. I loved the people. I loved the job itself. So it was more like mourning something that I loved.
Okay.
But beyond that, yeah, the financial side of it was there, but the implication was not a lot, to be honest.
Okay.
Because if you know me, you know that I'm not one to settle on one source of income. I preach it all the time. As a matter of fact, at that time, I had 4 regular sources of income at that time before I lost the job. So I just lost the job and there were 3 others. I mean, we had income coming from our Airbnb. I had income coming from a different side hustle. I have a business by the side, and then I had a third income coming from another job that I had at the time. Okay. So it wasn't like I didn't even have to, apply for EI because I had income coming. So yeah. So
that's good because that was like a good situation compared to some others where I've heard where it's like, okay, I lose this job, then it's like, okay, when is the next one going to come up? I don't know. I need to start applying. I need to start going through that interview process altogether.
But the good thing is, one thing that that job loss did to me is that it gave me a wake-up call. Okay. I mean, I looked at myself, I'm like, this is age 42 and this is happening now. Like, where do I see myself 3 years, 5 years from now? Do I want to continue this, go back into the workforce and, uncertainty, something happens and then the job goes or, And I started thinking deeply. And I think that's where Calgary also came in again, because I'm thinking, I had ideas, but I knew that those ideas I wouldn't be able to execute at that location at the time. Okay. So that was another thing that actually forced me to start looking for a job in Calgary, because I knew there was something I was pursuing, like actively pursuing.
That would only work out if you're
in Calgary.
Okay.
It had to happen in Calgary because I needed access to an international airport.
Okay.
And
I see.
Toronto was not an option for me.
Because Toronto is far away from.
It's not just about being far away.
Toronto
reminds me a lot about Lagos. And to be honest, I don't want to go through that life.
You're not the first person to say that, actually. You know, no shade to Toronto. I love it when I get there.
Exactly.
But every time I'm in Toronto, after 3 days max, I want to just go back.
Thank you. That's the way I feel. I don't want to stay 1 week max.
I can totally relate.
Yeah.
So it's almost like everything was just lining up and happening, just for me to go scriptural. Everything was working out for your good.
Actually, if you know me, you know that my faith is a big part of my life.
Yeah.
And I've gotten to a point where sometimes when I struggle, I ask myself, am I struggling because I'm walking in my own will, or because I'm struggling with, aligning with the will of God?
Yeah.
So most times my prayer will always be, God, let your will be done. And when I make that prayer and things start happening, I've learned to let go and let God.
Yeah.
So I knew, even when I got that job, I knew that it was God's time for me to move. I knew it. Like I still know it, even though I knew I was going to lose a lot of things. Like, I was not going to be in physical touch with my friends that are really great friends I've made in Saskatoon, and so many things. But I knew that I had to leave that comfort zone because I know that what God had in stock for us, it just wasn't going to work out in Saskatoon.
When you're there.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's like trusting fully. And it comes with the depth of the relationship that you have with God, right? To be able to, have clear signals on what He's saying. Yeah. And then obeying is another thing, right? Because sometimes you hear it, but do you feel like you're ready to obey at that point? Yeah. But I'm happy that you quickly got that alignment, and then you guys moved to Calgary. Yeah. So, how are you finding Calgary so far? This is the fourth month?
Yeah, 4 months, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. First, I'm loving Calgary. I'm loving the networking. But what I love the most about Calgary is the opportunities and the fact that it feels like home for me. And I say that because I'm beginning to reignite relationships with people from way back. I have a bunch of friends that I know from high school, from
like yours truly.
From university. People that I practically grew up with, in the same neighborhoods back home. And when I first moved here and I started meeting up with people, like I would get invited to someone's house, and then I go there, and I see someone else, I'm like, oh my God, are you in Calgary? I'm like, why is everyone in Calgary? What have I been waiting for? I think the only regret, if I can call it a regret, is that I didn't move earlier.
Oh.
To be honest.
Yeah. That makes it makes the folks in Calgary feel pretty special. Mm-hmm. I'm sure, back in Saskatoon, sending all the love back to the folks that you left there. But, I think the people in Calgary are happy to have you.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So let's do something slightly different. I'm going to ask you a series of questions. Okay. And I want you to give me the first answer that comes to your mind. Okay. Winter or summer?
Summer.
Okay, so it sounds like a no-brainer.
No-brainer.
Sounds like a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer.
So how have you guys been improving your winter activities? Because I think one of the things you'll notice here in Calgary is during winter, there's some people that really love winter, and they go out to be part of all the different winter activities happening. The mountains are so close by. People go out for skiing, snowboarding. Kids love, sledding, tobogganing, just a lot of different things. But I think a lot of adults, especially adults from Africa, right?
Yeah.
I think most people still struggle with like ramping up with their winter activities because everybody just goes indoors. People just shut down. Yeah. And it's always indoor activities. But have you and the kids, with your husband, have you guys started exploring any outdoor activities during the winter?
I like to explore. I'm sure I would maybe someday try skiing, but to be honest, I'm not a fan of the winter.
The weather.
I'm not, but I hear it's better in Calgary. I hear some days is a lot warmer, So yeah. I'm looking forward to my first winter in Calgary. Maybe after then I'll be able to answer the question. But for me, winter does not mean that I still can enjoy activities, but in most cases they are all indoor activities.
Okay.
Gather with friends. Over good food, good music, gists. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
And back in Saskatoon, what would you say were like the very coldest days? How cold would it get?
I have witnessed minus 51.
What?
Yes. Not once, not twice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Minus 51.
Yes.
I know. So one thing you're going to notice here in Calgary is we get a lot of the Chinook winds. So during winter, it could probably be like minus 24, but it feels like minus 36 because the winds make it cold. But the good thing is those winds also like help melt whatever snow you have on the ground, so you don't get to have a lot of snow on the ground.
Yeah.
So I'll be curious to circle back in the next couple of months. To compare back and forth.
Yeah, I hear there's no comparison really because the average winter days in Saskatoon would range between minus 28 to minus 36. That's like average.
Okay.
But sometime towards January and early February, it can get really bad. That's when we start seeing the minus 40s. You could see that, at a stretch for a whole week or 2 weeks.
Wow.
In some cases. But yeah.
Interesting. Okay. My next question might come with a twist, but I think you're still up for it. Jollof rice or shawarma?
Jollof rice.
Oh.
And you know the crazy thing? I wasn't always a fan of jollof rice.
You didn't ask me the type this shawarma I'm referring to.
No, shawarma is shawarma. Whether you make it with beef, chicken, sausage, shawarma is shawarma. And you know the crazy thing? If you had asked me this question maybe 3 years ago, I would say shawarma. I was never a fan of jollof rice, but for some reason, and I cannot explain how or where it happened, I just like jollof rice.
Okay,
yeah.
So jollof rice wins for this
one.
So, what's the one thing that you miss the most about home?
It has to be the food.
Okay.
And the weather. I miss the rain. Now, when I talk about the rain, I'm not talking about the typical rain that we have in Canada that comes with the chills. I'm talking about the rain that happens maybe after a dusty day before, and then the following day everywhere is dry.
Yeah.
I kind of miss, that smell. I miss that, and I miss the food. Yeah.
The smell that is like slight dust,
dusty
with rain.
Thank you. Yeah. That it might not be healthy.
Just with you describing it, like it just registered back in my brain how amazing it is.
Yeah.
I never expected that.
I miss it.
So
Yeah.
if someone was coming back from home, what's the one thing you always tell the person to get for you?
For me, it's always crayfish and fish.
Okay.
So crayfish or dry fish. Like I love all of that for food. But I think what I miss the most about home is some of the food that I have not been able to find in Canada yet. I don't
Okay.
know if you know what they call ona. I don't know what they call it in English, but I think it might be wild yam or something like that.
Okay.
But my grandmother used to boil it and we eat it with ungo. You know, the same ungo that you use for making isewu,
Yeah.
and all that. I miss that food. Like the day my feet
And none
touch
of
East
the
Nigeria,
African
I'm going to
stores-
look for it.
Nothing.
Nobody.
Wow. So that's gonna be top on your
Yeah.
list anytime you happen to.
You know. I'm looking forward to the day my legs touch Owerri.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So let's come to the kids again, right? Because I think for me, I've always seen kids as being a lot more adaptable to new environments compared to adults. Because for kids, when they start going to school, they mix up with other kids, they make friends, and then before you know it, you start noticing their accent is already changing. And you're on this other side observing the transition and the transformation happening.
Yeah.
So how did that happen for your kids? Did any of them struggle with like blending easily or making friends or any type of like what was the experience like for you?
So for me, my kids adapted really fast. My first son first started school before the other one started the year after. And they really adapted really fast. My second son is very hyper, same as my last.
Okay.
And I remember back in those days, I would get lots of emails saying, "Oh, he won't sit in one place." And,
From
and
school?
Yeah, and that used to worry me. And I remember taking a letter that I had received from the school one day to a community member that is a medical doctor. She's a mental health,
Okay.
And I showed her this letter. I'm like, is something wrong with my kid? Do I need to be worried? And she's like, oh no, this is normal. They do it all the time. African children, we're hyper and all of that. And
It's almost like the
and
kids
that
come with a
kind-
lot of
yeah,
energy,
yeah.
which is very normal because I remember like growing up. I mean, back then we had video games, but we
Yeah.
never spent a lot of
Time.
hours on screen.
Yeah.
I think playing video games then was like because I grew up having 4 brothers, so it's like by the time you take a turn
Yeah.
with everybody. You either had to be very good and you're
Yeah.
beating all the other folks for you to stay there.
Exactly.
And sometimes the video games back then were those ones where the adapters, after a while, it gets hot.
Yeah.
So we'll
I
take
have
the
to
adapter,
leave
we
it
go
alone.
put it in the freezer for it to cool off a little bit, and then we bring it back. But kids right now, they have everything in front of them. Tablets, phones, TVs, every device is almost connected to the internet. So what we used to like look forward to, it's just
Something you have easy
a button
access to.
away.
Yeah. Well, for me, I still believe in moderation because it's raising kids. It's not an easy task.
Yeah.
But then it's a responsibility that we all must take very seriously. And one of my key goals is to raise a child that is all around balanced.
I like that.
So
yeah.
what this means is there has to be some sort of moderation for everything. For instance, my kids do not have phones. And they know that they're not getting any phones until they turn 16.
Good.
That's one. Secondly, my kids have access to video games at home, but that's only on the weekends, and it's all monitored because it's all connected to my husband and I's mobile devices. So
devices. Yeah.
they know they cannot download anything. without us being the ones to download that. If they made the attempt, we'll get the notification, so they wouldn't even do it, right? And that's also moderated. Like, there are certain hours
I need to hook you guys up to some parents who are struggling with that. Like, whatever way you guys set it up or whatever app, because I mean, like, some people honestly struggle with it, right? Because before you know it, the kid has downloaded something on iPad, you know. Right now, Roblox and all the other games out there.
Roblox is a no-no. we let it slide initially, but we kind of started getting worried, especially when I watch some of the things. Like, I sit down with them and I watch sometimes, and I'm looking at some of the content. I'm like, no, this can be appropriate for this age. So Roblox is a no-no for us, and they know it. As a matter of fact, my last son, once when we kept him at a friend's place, I can't remember where we needed to go that day. Was it to take one of them to an appointment, and we needed to keep the last one somewhere? Okay. And when we came back to get him, our friend was telling us, hey, you guys are doing a good job. Do you know that we put Roblox? And he told us, no, we're not allowed to watch Roblox.
Oh,
I'm like,
that is good.
Good one. Good one.
Not trying to sneak behind mommy and daddy.
Exactly. So
that is good.
Yeah,
that is good.
So Roblox is a no-no, and I don't mean to. I'm not trying to cast any
no
judgment
no
on
shade
anyone.
or judgment to anybody. Really.
To each their own, but that's how we choose to raise ours. So
it's a choice.
Yeah,
that's good. So Oge, there's something we do on the podcast where the previous guest leaves a question for the next guest.
Okay.
I don't get to read the question.
Oh.
And the only time we find out about that question is when you are sitting on this chair.
Oh, wow.
So I'm going to hand over the book to you. You open it, and the last question there would be for you to answer.
Okay. This question says, would you rather have $1,000 a year or 1 million now?
Interesting.
I'd rather have 1 million now. Okay, or 100K okay, would you rather have $100,000 a year or 1 million now? And then it says for 10 years. So I guess the 100,000 a year is for 10 years. No, I'd rather have $1 million now.
Okay.
And
the
reason is if you understand the time value of money, right? 100K a year for 10 years sounds like salary, so you have to break it down and all of that, so I have to wait for it to come. But if I have $1 million right now, there's so much that I can invest that in businesses, or even just passive investments or what have you, that will make, tangible profits
from
for
that
me.
particular one.
We're talking about return on investment on an annual basis, that if you were to compare it to earning or receiving 100K a year for 10 years, would not make any sense.
Okay. So it's you want the bulk.
I want the
now,
bulk, $1 million
so you can invest it and multiply that money.
Thank you.
Faster.
Exactly.
There's an entrepreneurial side of you.
I've always been an entrepreneur. I started my first business at age 13 selling garlic.
Wow.
Yes. So my mom used to have a grocery store back in Aba, where they sell vegetables like salad things and all of that. So we had her guy in Jos that buys them and puts them in the 911. Those days.
Okay.
I don't know what it's called now.
The trucks.
So I would, give him money. He would buy garlic in bulk for me, and then I'll sell the garlic in my mom's shop.
At 13.
At 13, and I registered my first business at age 19.
Wow.
Supplying groceries to Mr. Biggs in Owerri. That's what I did when I was in school. So if you know me from Futo and you didn't see me a lot, I was hustling.
You've always been a solid hustler.
I've always been like, at every point in my life, I'm always doing some sort of business or another.
That's good.
Yeah.
So right now, I'm going to give you some time to leave a question for the next guest.
Okay, I'll think about it.
Yeah. Take your time. think about the question and
Okay.
then write it down there.
Okay. I'll think about it.
The way you're thinking about it is like the next person is gonna sweat a little bit before answering it.
Not necessarily. Okay. Okay.
Good?
Yeah.
All right. So, whoever is the next guest, you are going to find out when you're sitting right over here. So, two more things that I wanted to touch on. One is entrepreneurial, the entrepreneurial part of you, which I really admire that part, because a lot of times if you think about most folks that are working, everybody's, I would say, indirectly trying to set themselves up in a way that they have a way out. If you think about your experience, for example, when you got laid off from work, you didn't get into that position where it was almost like pressing the panic button. And that's because you had other things where you had money flowing in. And it almost sort of puts you in a position whereby you're like, well, this is not the end of the world. Life goes on. I need to just put in more time in the other things that are bringing in money. Now, for a lot of immigrants that come in, I think one of the first things they try to understand is, how does it work here? If I want to set up a business, if I want to start putting in some time into some other things that I'm passionate about, not just work, because one thing about work is every decision that gets made is based on the bottom line. It's all about profitability. And sometimes those hard decisions have to be made. The hard decisions could impact you after it's made, but what are you doing about your own personal journey that would help to set you up? I think it's a common question which a lot of immigrants get to ask, because there's nothing wrong with working. I love working. I enjoy working, but at the same time, I love putting in some time into the things that I'm passionate about. Now, how would you advise someone who is thinking about that, thinking about starting up, maybe a business on the side, that entrepreneurial part for them? What would you recommend as the best sort of approach for that kind of person?
So I think it all boils down to what you do for a living, right? Because to start something, you need to start somewhere. So you first of all need to consider what you do for a living. Like, do I even enjoy what I'm doing? And do I make enough money to take care of my daily living expenses, monthly expenses, and enough to put aside towards my business or hustle that I want to pursue? That's one. I know I've had this conversation with several friends, because I'm that person that will push you to do, because if I'm doing something, I want someone else to also, key in, because it's better when we're all winning.
When everybody's winning.
We're all winning. So I've had this conversation a lot of times with a couple of friends. I'm like, no, don't be too complacent that you're depending on only one source of income. It's risky, right? And one main thing that I always hear is, I don't have time. My job is too stressful. I don't have time. But can I tell you something? Coming from someone that has seen it all, like I've worked in the low stress, high stress, medium stress, jobs. The stress of the job is not the problem. The problem is you have not found your purpose. You have not found the motivation. Like, you're not motivated. You're not inspired. So you need to start looking inwards and asking yourself some honest questions.
And tough questions as well.
Start asking yourself, like, if I were to continue working on this job for the next 10 years, where am I going to be standing financially? And I'm not talking about savings. Sorry, I don't believe in savings. And I can explain that later on, but I don't believe in savings, right? But yeah, we'll talk about that later. But the thing is, if I'm working on this job for the next 10 years and I'm saving, let's say, maybe $500 a month, in a year, what does that amount to?
Yeah.
In 2 years, what does that amount to? 10 years later, what does that amount to? Now, are you also thinking that as the years roll by, you're getting older?
Of course.
And someday, you'll be too weak to do the job.
Yeah,
what
the
happens?
strength is not going to be there again.
Yeah, so that's why I say you need to look inwards and ask yourself some honest questions, And I think you need to inspire yourself. First of all, what do I like to do? What do I enjoy doing? And what are some of the opportunities that are out there? Like, what have I identified that are issues that I think I might bring a solution to? And you don't have to have it all. Sometimes you might need to collab with other people. Sometimes you need to do some research. Sometimes you need to do some scale up. You need to train yourself and all of that.
Skills.
Yeah, so I think that's really what that's about. Understand yourself, understand what you enjoy doing, and then register a business. Be ready. Be ready. Don't be the person that an opportunity comes up and it's something that you can, deliver on, but you're simply not ready.
At that point, that's when you're
And
struggling
you lose
to
that
go get.
opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think that really resonates a lot because sometimes the opportunity shows up, and if you're not ready at that time, then it's moved on to another person. But there was something you said that you don't believe in savings.
No, I don't believe in savings.
What exactly do you mean when you say that?
I will explain what I mean. And I don't mean this to throw shade on anyone. I know a lot of people derive joy in looking into their bank account and seeing money sitting there. Like, it just gives them joy. but for me, money sitting in the bank is risky because I'm going to blow it on something that I probably don't need, right? So I have set myself and my financials up in a way that if it's not money for daily expenses, then it cannot be in my account.
You should be working somewhere.
You should be working somewhere. So you could maybe set up like a monthly or bi-weekly thing where, as you're earning money is going into some sort of investment. And don't just invest and sit back. Monitor it, watch it, like ask yourself before you invest in something, like what's my plan for this money that I'm investing? Like, is this for the long term? Is this for children's education? Is it for, retirement or what? Or is it, but for me, I like to balance things out. I still believe in good old stock trading.
Because I was about to ask you, like, what kind of things do you invest in?
Yeah. And if you align yourself with the right set of network, you would know the right stock to buy. I remember when we first came to Canada, I invested $1,600 in a stock.
Okay.
And less than 1 year later, I sold it for $13,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's almost over 1,000%.
And people that knew about it, like my close friends that knew about it, kept asking me, how did you know it was going to do well? I said, I didn't know. But I believed in someone that has that experience.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's really about your network.
Yeah.
and it makes me remember this statement where people say your network determines your net.
It doesn't determine. It is your network.
Your network.
That's the truth. That's the truth. And I
Your
can
net
give you
worth
something.
determines your net worth.
No, I'm correcting you now. Your net worth. Your net worth doesn't determine your net worth. It is
your net worth.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
That's the truth. As long as you're not using people, it has to be like a give and take relationship.
It's a two-way
right?
thing.
Yeah. But the truth is your network is actually your net worth.
I like that.
Yeah. Because if you're someone in my network, I'm not going to sit back and watch you doing nothing.
Yeah.
I'm that kind of person. Like, I will bother you. Is either you're going to be my friend or you're not going to be my friend. It's that simple. But you cannot, I don't make friends with. We need to motivate each other.
Exactly.
I want to sit down with you and we want to talk about, like,
what are the things you're working on?
Money talk, like, what's happening? Where are we at today? What are we doing tomorrow?
Yeah.
You know?
I like that. I like that. It's back to the part where the Bible says iron sharpened iron.
Thank you.
Right? Because you have to have the same type of people who are thinking in the same direction as you are.
True.
So Oge, if you're thinking you're going to call Oge to ask for $1,000, money doesn't sit in her account.
No.
It's all working.
and people that know me know money doesn't sit in my account. Like, if you're going to ask if I'm going to give you $1,000, it's going to take some time. So, it's not sitting in my account. I don't have it.
I like that. So, one other important topic, which, I must really commend you and your husband, how you guys have been, doing things for a while, right? If we look at Canada, I think one of the things that most families suffer a lot is, if you look at the trend right now in Canada, especially amongst the immigrant population, there's a high divorce rate amongst the immigrant population, right? For some reason, I think on the day of the JAKPA Stories Podcast launch, someone said something about 2 passports, 1 heart, right? And that's a beautiful topic which we're going to bring up at some point and have other guests. But with all of that going on, for other young families that are still coming in, either they're thinking about immigrating, they're probably in the process of immigrating, or they just landed. They probably just landed, wherever they decided to move to. Now this is a trend which we're seeing. Sadly, it's a trend. Now, from your experience, I think you guys like over 12 or 13 years married now.
14 years. Yeah, 14 years this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So shout out to my friend. And also to you. But I think it's really commendable. Now, when you look at how you lived as a couple back in Nigeria and how you guys are living right now, what would you say were the greatest challenges that cropped up here in Canada that probably did not show up back in Nigeria, but you guys still maneuvered all those challenges to still keep your marriage rock solid?
I think the main challenges were, just the traditional role switch.
Okay.
Back in Nigeria, it's the man provides and the woman supports. And that's the way it was back home. Like, I remember my husband, of course, takes care of everything about running the house. Like I said before, we had 2 helps.
Okay.
So he used to pay one and I used to pay the other.
Oh, nice.
And I think I also took care of feeding, if I remember, back home, but every other thing about school fees and all of that. Okay. And at some point, we actually used to have a joint account. Thinking of it now. I think we used those joint accounts for mostly when we were having the kids, because I always traveled. I didn't have any of my kids in Nigeria. So we had a joint account where every month we would put something into it, and money never left that account.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
except
that was like strictly for savings of projects.
Yeah. So that's what it was like back in Nigeria. But then when we moved here, that model was not sustainable because it would be unfair to assume that the head of the home would be the one carrying most of the burden.
Yeah.
So considering that again, we did not have help here and all of that. So we had to sit back and look at our finances.
Get back on the drawing board.
Yeah, exactly. And that's something that we've not stopped doing. We still do it like every beginning of the year, every mid-year.
Like
we always do that, so we can, come back and look at things, and if there are places where we need to adjust things here and there. And we don't necessarily have to wait till those times to do that. Something could come up and he's like, okay, babe, you know what? You have to handle this for this period. This is what, just being flexible and all of that. Yeah. That's really helped. Well, above all, what I would say is when it comes to marriage, I think the very first thing is what really is the foundation of that marriage? Like, what's brought you together in the first place? Like, and on what foundation did you lay that marriage? I remember when I met my husband, the one thing that we agreed on from the get-go is any issues we have, it stays between the two of us. You will never hear anything that has to do with my husband from a third party, not even my sister, that is my closest person. You will not. Right? Like, we made sure that we kept, like, we can vex for each other, we can be upset with each other and still be talking to each other, but we know that we are upset until the day you tell me, you know what, make we resolve this matter, but it will stay with us. That's the point, right? Like, it never went outside. Like, my father cannot tell you that, that my husband called and said I did, or that I called and no, you never hear that. So I guess that's one of the things that helped us. And secondly, we told ourselves, well, I'm a born-again Christian and I married a born-again Christian, right? And we told ourselves that divorce is not an option. Like, if you and sometimes I ask him, what is it that will do, that will make you say you're not doing it again? I can't think of anything. Yeah. So I guess that's what it is. Like, what really brought you guys together in the first place? What was the foundation? Like, so that when something is not going right, we revisit, our why, So I guess that's what it is. And honestly, I generally, for a lot of things that I've noticed amongst immigrants, especially from Nigeria, I think there's a lot of influence, negative influence. And what I would say to that is, when we first moved to Canada, and I reached out to a doctor friend of mine, he's late now, God bless him. So he died during COVID. He was one of the COVID victims. He told me something. I still have that message in my phone. He said to me, see, your success will depend on who you listen to, the people that you're around, Don't get carried away that you came abroad. Be very careful. Hold your family strong. Hold your children strong. Above all, protect your own from outside influence. So that thing always stuck. Did we hear advices and stuff?
Advice.
We always did. We always heard things, but we always go back to look, that is working for this person this way. Doesn't necessarily mean it has to be the same for me. Like, everyone, it's just like, a race. When they blow the whistle, right, and you all move, it's not everyone that will finish at the same time. Some will finish, but they will finish last. But that doesn't mean that they are not doing it right. It just means that that's what their pace is.
That's true.
And that's what it is. Because in the journey of life, there's nothing like take certificates. You did better than
or you finish first,
B.
or
run your race and run it. Be in your authentic self. Like, for God's sake, be yourselves.
I like that.
Like, be authentic.
I like that. Because, I think you touched on some really important points. First off, the influence. The influence, there's this joke that goes around. Whenever something goes wrong, in a relationship, you hear maybe other people say, oh, I think she joined the WhatsApp group, or I think he joined the WhatsApp group. So the WhatsApp group is referring to the influence that you talked about, which it's a real thing. It's something which when you look at how it's going, the trend, it's spiking up unnecessarily. And when you hear the things that are causing these breakups in marriages, they're usually things that are fixable, or things that shouldn't even get to that position in the first place. So I'm really, really glad that coming from you and coming from looking at you guys, seeing how things are going, I admire the way you guys handle stuff. So I would say keep it going. The way you guys have been doing it, it takes two people with that understanding to get things going. And I'm hoping that for anyone that listens to this podcast and you really want to learn how to keep yours strong, like the words that Oge just shared, I think it's something to hold really close to your heart and guard it as much as you can. Oge, thank you so much for being here on JAKPA Stories.
Thank you.
It's been an absolute pleasure having you here on the podcast.
Yeah.
And I will be circling back in the next couple of months after your first winter.
Definitely. I am looking forward to my first winter in Calgary.
Yeah. But like you already said, it's probably going to be a lot better compared to
I think so.
the experience in
I
Saskatoon.
believe so.
But we really appreciate you being here on the podcast. We really appreciate you being a huge supporter of the community. And once again, thank you so much for being here on the show. And we look forward to connecting again. We're going to be having other sessions in the future where we have more guests on the show. And I think there are certain topics where I'm already thinking of Oge is going to be a subject matter expert on those topics.
Yeah. Looking forward to that. Anything for JAKPA Stories.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And for those out there, I hope you enjoyed this episode of the podcast. And if you haven't subscribed, click on the subscription button, click like and share, and we'll see you on the next episode of the podcast.
Yeah.
Thank you.